Welcome to Set Apart Homestead. It's Travis, and today I want to talk about how to deal with the unexpected when it comes to your homestead, your dreams, your life. Many times we have to go through those periods of life where things happen and it's not what we wanted. It's not what we had prepared for. It doesn't fit within our plan. And sometimes, depending on what it is, it can really set us back. And so what do? Do we just kind of, give up? Do we drastically change our plans? Or, do we continue to push forward with those plans, maybe slightly altered? There's all kinds of scenarios that one could think of that would fit this. There could be someone in the family could get injured. Maybe your plan is to move out in the woods, live on a little homestead, out in the country, raise your food, raise your animals, and then something happens and you're injured. And maybe the injury is severe enough that it might prevent you from doing that. Maybe you'll, have some form of disability because of this injury. Maybe you already have your, perfect little homestead, your little farm, and then all of a sudden you lose your job or your income drastically decreases and you may end up even losing your farm, having to sell. There could be a death in the family. There could be a severe illness in the family. There's all sorts of scenarios that could cause someone to have to reevaluate and rework your plan. And so when that happens, it's emotionally very draining on us, because I think most people like to know where things are headed. Most people don't like sudden, unexpected change in their life. Some are able to handle it more than others, but in the end, I think that's just a natural human thing that we don't like sudden, immediate, unexpected changes. So how do you handle that? Do you just give up on it? I mean, if your desire is to, live out in the woods or live on a little farm and raise your own food and be self-sufficient and be prepared and do all this sort of thing, and then something happens and you end up having to move into the city or move into an apartment or move in a different location than you had planned on. Do you just give up on those plans? No, you don't. You may have to alter those plans, but life happens. I mean, it does. Life, changes happen in life. We all go through it, and sometimes some of those changes can be quite severe, can be quite devastating. But we still have to keep moving forward. In the end, the meaning of life, here's my great philosophical, word for the day. Life is simply just taking one step in front of the other. I mean, in the end, that's it. It's moving forward, that motion of moving forward, of not stopping, of not becoming stagnant, of just continually taking another step in front of the other. And that's what we have to do. So when it happens that your plans change and maybe you're not going to move onto the property that you wanted to, maybe you have to leave the property that you have, or maybe you're become injured or disabled in a way, or your family splits up, or many other things, a death in the family. Maybe you have to, you have a parent that's become ill and you have to move to go take care of them. There's many scenarios that this could happen, but you don't give up, because even though wherever you would end up may not be the most ideal place for you, especially for your lifestyle that you're choosing, you can still make it work. I've seen people that live inside the city on a small city lot growing lots of food. I've seen people in apartments doing pretty well. I mean, sure. Are they growing all their food? Are they completely self-sufficient? No, of course not. Are they completely prepared because of where they live? No, not at all. but they're at least trying. They're moving forward. They're taking that step forward, um, and they're continually preparing themselves for the day that they might be able to make that dream finally happen, or be able to get back to that dream that they once had. Um, you could possibly, find a piece of land to just grow food on, not necessarily to live. There's times that you can find little lots that you may not be able to build on, but you could possibly get them and grow a large garden on them, or maybe a few animals. You could work it out with other people that have land, that maybe you could do some type of share, co-op situation with them, a sharecropping type of scenario where you're out there helping them and you're sharing in part of the harvest. As far as preparedness, there's ways to be prepared in an apartment. There's ways to be prepared in the city. I've talked many times of how, in my opinion, the best place to be self-sufficient and prepared is out like this. But just because it's the best, it doesn't mean it's the only place. So, as many times as I've said that it's the best, I don't want people to start getting the idea that I don't think that you could be prepared, be self-sufficient, and live a fulfilling life if you're not out in these woods or out in the country. It is possible. And so I want to take this video to encourage those, because I realize that it's not something that everyone can get to, at least not now. Some of you are still working on it, and that's okay. And some of you may never get to that point, and that's okay. That just means that you have to work on your plans for preparedness, your plans for how you're going to produce as much food as you possibly can. These are very important things for you to do, and you can do that in the city. You can do that even in an apartment. You may have to work it a little differently. I don't know that it's necessarily harder even. In some ways, it might even be easier. There's definitely some things about living out in the middle of nowhere that's not easy. You're far away from resupplying. You don't have neighbors. There are some disadvantages to it. So if you're stuck in the city, then you have some advantages. Obviously not the land, the space, the seclusion, things like that, but you do have other advantages. So you need to utilize those advantages. And continually move forward. That's the big thing, is we just got to keep moving forward. We can't give up on them. No matter what loss that you experience in life, you cannot stop. You could lose a child, you could lose a spouse, a parent. There's all sorts of devastating blows that we can experience in life. But we can't stop. We may want to, trust me, I know, that we want to just stop and say, it's all right, I've had enough, I give up, I'm done. And we may experience that for a few days or even a few weeks, but in the end, you've got to pull yourself up by the bootstraps and keep moving forward, because there is life out there, and there is a better life awaiting, potentially a better life. And you can make yourself a good life, at least as good as what you had, and potentially better. You just have to work at it. You have to be focused on it, and not give up, and not lose faith, and not lose sight of where you want to be in life. Because life can throw some really, really awful things at you. Trust me, I know. But defeat is not when you experience those things. Defeat is when you give up on your dreams, when you give up on yourself. That's what defeat is. So don't feel defeated because you're not going to get to move to your perfect little homestead, or maybe you lose your perfect little homestead, or you become injured or disabled or lost in your family. Don't feel defeated because of that. It may be a setback, and sometimes a major one, but you're only defeated when you just give up. So You know, I realize that I talk a lot about living out like this because I do think it's a great way to live. But don't for a minute think that just because you don't live like this, that you're not capable of a fulfilling, self-sufficient life. You'll just have to do it differently. And maybe along the way I can make some videos and talk a little bit more about those ways to do it differently. So, in the end, I just want to encourage all of you, wherever you are, whatever your situation is, to keep moving forward. Keep working towards self-sufficiency. Keep working towards preparedness. Build up your knowledge of what you're doing and what you want to do. Practice, get out there, and just be prepared. So, all right. Well, I want to thank you all for watching, and I'll catch y'all in the next video.